Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Advisicon webinar Wednesday. We enjoy teaching because it's like lighting a candle in a dark room. How much more can you see with just a little light, and in this case, just a little education? We enjoy teaching here at Advisicon. Today's topic will be the Project Manager's Guide to Project for the Web, acknowledging some updates to the Project for the Web. Here at Advisicon, our amazing team of trainers, developers, and technology consultants want to help you maximize your productivity and impact, and we do that through a blend of technology and methodology consulting. A little bit about myself. I have a background in math education. That just means I have a lot of problems that I'm still dealing with. But I enjoy problem solving, especially using the technology as a tool for the solution. And I have experience in managing projects where we use Microsoft 365 tools as solutions. I am a Microsoft certified professional, especially in the Teams administration area. I've been teaching for nearly 10 years. I enjoy teaching, and I hope today's webinar is beneficial to you. I also do have additional certifications in Microsoft Project as well as SharePoint. Looking at today's agenda, we'll talk about, what does a project manager need? Some considerations as you consider adopting Project for the Web, and then we'll go into a demo. All right, so while this may not be comprehensive, we want to look at just some high-level things of what a project manager might need for their project. Let's start with a schedule. The schedule is supposed to be an order of operations, if you will, to borrow that from math. We want to see what's the order, what's the dates and durations for the tasks that are set before us in order to complete this project. The schedule, should show the progress of those tasks. Some scheduling software have as simple as not started, in progress, or completed. That's a progress. Or is it something more granular, something like we are 53% complete, that specific. Or, we have completed 6 of the 24 hours. A schedule should also include the resources. Who does the what? We have work, we have tasks. Now, who's going to do that? So when you put together a project, make sure you have a schedule, and Project for the Web can address the schedule need. Moving on, let's talk about communication. It's said that 90% of a project manager's tasks are communicating. As the integrator, the project manager, as the integrator of a project, you are always overseeing the details of the project, and it's your responsibility to maybe pass that from the executive sponsor onto the project team. The project team may want to, in turn, share their progress against the tasks. So they will, as mentioned above, you can do that maybe in the schedule, or maybe it just needs to be done through an email. Maybe you have a different system where you use a punch card, time in, time out. Many different ways that can be achieved. It's just up to you as the project manager on what you want to report with. What kind of data do you want? Is email sufficient for communication? Email exploding is sometimes one of the pain points we hear with different project managers. And Project for the Web might offer a solution from email explosion. Looking on PMIS, if you're not familiar with that, it stands for Project Management Information Systems. That's basically all the documents that you use to in the life cycle of your project. And you don't only want to have documents, but you want to have them accessible. In today's world, many people work remotely. Many people have companies where their resources, their team members, aren't centrally located. They span many time zones, maybe even many continents. So are your documents accessible across those time zones and continents? Does your project management information system allow you allow your team members to be collaborative. Back in the days when we would send different versions, or maybe this is a problem your company is facing today, you would send different versions of a document in an email, and now everyone's working on version 3, version 7, and has you have trouble reconciling all those differences. So consider that in your project management choice for your PMIS. Project for the Web does address this, and I'll show you how that can be achieved. Lastly, and this is for almost any project and almost any group, organization, company, you want visibility to your projects. You want to know where are things at, what's the progress, what's the health status of that. And really that's when we move to a program level. Program is a collection of projects that are working towards the same initiative, the same strategic goal for your company. You usually want dashboards for that, right? And maybe your company right now is doing that manually. Maybe you manually take 2 hours out of your week to compile your data and put together a dashboard. Well, wouldn't that be nice if your project management tool that does scheduling, communication, and helps you do your PMIS, wouldn't that be nice if it all rolls up together in one nice solution? And I'll show you what that can look like when we connect Project for the Web to Power BI. Let's take a step back and maybe consider, is Project for the Web the right tool for you? First, consider when you look at your schedule, how many tasks does your typical project have? Now, you may do different types of projects, or you might have one standard type of project, one template, if you will. Does that template go more than 500 tasks? Right now, Project for the Web does limit its tasks to 500 rows. So is that a good size for your types of projects? Secondly is security. When you build a Project for the Web board, everyone who is a resource on the board has access and visibility to everyone's tasks on the board. So to some, that might be a nightmare. Everyone can see everyone's tasks. Everyone can edit everyone's tasks. So we want to consider who should have access to the board. Now, some companies say, oh, I have trouble just getting my team just to open up their tasks, so I'm not worried about them opening other people's tasks. Well, we can look at that and say, is your team well-trained enough where they won't have that impact on other people's work? And that's what we like to do at Advisicon. We like to teach you, train you, shine that light on your projects so that you can just do it just a little bit better. Lastly, does your projects have custom columns? Project for the Web has a limited number of out-of-the-box columns, and is that sufficient for you? Do you know what kind of columns you want for your projects? Do you know what kind of metrics your project needs to measure success? So these are things to consider when using Project for the Web. Maybe you've come from your understanding of Project Desktop, which is very robust, or Project Online, which has a lot of more enterprise custom fields abilities. Whereas Project for the Web, you have to rebuild the custom fields with every project. Now, as consulting experts, we've found a way to work around that, and I'll show that to you when we get into our demo. Great, let's get into our demo. Welcome to Project for the Web. This is the landing page when you open the project app. I'll look into some of the navigation and features here on the home page, the landing page. But let's look into first what one of the types of projects or that you can make within Project for the Web, and that is a roadmap. Here's what a roadmap can look like. What's the purpose of the roadmap? You, as a project manager, can pull in specific projects that your company is working on. Maybe you have 2, 3, or maybe hundreds of project managers, and you can pull in just the projects that you are specifically want to look at. So for example, here's one project. We have a timeline at the top, and depending on how you set up your roadmap, you can select milestones, you can select high-level tasks, summary tasks, and with your milestones, you can even give them a health check. You can say, this is due on the 24th. We were at risk, but now we're back on track. Thankfully, the concern got resolved. So you can do those things. After that, the milestones downstream do get impacted. So what was once at a high risk is now just at risk. We seem to be on track there, but I'm not sure that one's going to get done on time. So you can give a health status update with that. So these are different projects. Now this is out of the box with Project for the Web, this feature. I will show you a Power BI roadmap that has this capability as well. Next, let's go back to the project homepage. Here on the project homepage, one thing I'd like to point out is the notifications ability. So here under the wheel, if you go to notifications, here's one thing I like to make sure is in place, that when tasks are assigned, that there is a notification sent. That way, this is part of the automation, and easily communications abilities within Microsoft 365 and Project for the Web. Also, I'd like to point out that when you can possibly make your own template. So how might one achieve that is you just set up your project with the usual tasks and your enterprise custom columns. That does take some working and configuration. And once you set that up, I would suggest you just call it a template, and you limit access to that. And you can then also copy this and create future projects based on your one template. So those are some tips and tools, tricks from how to set up your projects. Let's go into a schedule. Here's what a Project for the Web schedule might look like. Now, if you're used to Project for Desktop, you'll notice that this has a very lightweight feel, and that is true. It's supposed to have more of that feel. Let's start with the columns. Notice that there are many columns here, but what are the default columns? There are only 11 default columns that come with Project for the Web. That's why I suggested making your own template with your own custom columns. I won't cover how to do that in this video, or too much how to build any of the tasks. We have another video, Project for the Web, where we go into much more detail on how to build tasks in the schedule. I want to share with you some of the updates that have taken place since our last video with Project for the Web. If we open one of the tasks, I'd like to highlight the checklist. This was something that was long sought after. This is reminiscent of Planner. One of the Planner's features is you can create checklists. You can think of them as subtasks within your task card, and you can add items. Some people have asked, can you assign the subtasks to different people? And if you're at that point, then it seems if you need a assignment of a subtask, it seems that probably should be a task itself. So that's probably why you want to break it out as its own task. That way you can give it an assignment, a resource. All right, another feature within the task cards themselves is chat. This was something that was promised and fulfilled, and now we can chat about the task items themselves. Let's take a look at what that looks like. When I clicked that conversation button, it brought me to my Teams app. And here I can have a conversation about just that task. The card itself was brought over as well. And I can mention to Robin, please use the updated stakeholders list, and thanks. So now Robin gets notification, and we can have a string conversation here, and it can be recorded here. That's part of the communications need for a project. You can see in the post section, Robin will get the notification, and further conversation can continue. So Project for the Web builds out communication even at the task level. Continuing the topic of communication, You can also progress your project tasks. So for example, if I'm Robin, I can come in and say, I've done another 2 hours of work today. So Robin can come over and progress the task to 32 hours. Notice that the remaining hours updated automatically. Next, another topic that we mentioned was about documents for a project. And a feature within Project for the Web is that we can add attachments to tasks, and they are stored in a SharePoint site. So but which SharePoint site, and this is where a little education goes a long way, the SharePoint site is connected to the group, the Microsoft 365 group you attach to the Project for the Web schedule. So in this case, here's our group, and if we go to that SharePoint site, that's where we would find the related documents. Now, one trick and something to be careful about is that when you add an attachment, the attachment is automatically, where does it sit? It will automatically sit at the highest level of the SharePoint group, the SharePoint document library associated with that group, at the highest level. And what that means, if you try to organize it more granularly with a directories, that link will then break. So to resolve this, my recommendation is that you put your documents in the correct place where you want it to sit in SharePoint, and then from there you add it as an attachment using its URL. So again, add it to the SharePoint first, and then add it to the tasks. All right, we've talked about the schedule, we've talked about communication, we've talked about document storage. Next, let's talk about visibility to your project. Welcome to Power BI. I've connected my 5 projects to a Power BI pack. This is an out-of-the-box default pack that Microsoft gives you. It's a built-out reports already ready to go. You just need to know how to configure it, and that just takes a few short steps once you have your Power BI tenant set up. All right, I want to show you a few of the reports. First of all, we have portfolio dashboard. We can see the projects, the effort completed, and effort remaining. You can see how much effort by project and even by project manager. This dashboard visibility just lets you know the progress of each task. That's one of the helpful items here. And of course, effort. This is a helpful one, just what's overdue. And if we look at this one, we say, wow, a lot of overdue tasks. Let's put some eyes on there. So already we're making intelligent business decisions based on our visibility to the project. Looking at the portfolio timeline, this is especially important to your stakeholders. When will my project be done? And what's the holdup? What's the progress against that project? So this one was started back in March, and how much progress have we made? Well, not that much. So this is, again, your ability to make decisions based on up-to-date information. Next, let's look at the resource dashboard. Visibility to resources is a common need we hear with our clients, and just saying who's got what workload. So right here from this visual, I can already see Sarah has a lot of work, and you know what, Dave doesn't. So if Sarah's saying, hey, I'm falling behind on my tasks, maybe it's because she has too many, and let's reassign that to Dave instead. So here we can just have a high level visibility of who's doing what and what's the workload for each resource. Next, let's look at resource assignments. So we can get more granular and say, what is Sarah working on? And so we can break out by the different project and then the tasks. So I can highlight this one and say, oh, well, this was the one that is slipping. So let's address that one. Furthermore, we can say maybe how many hours does Sarah have remaining on which project? And this one is heavy, so maybe I can look to reassigning some of these tasks in this project to someone who has more bandwidth available. So again, smart business decisions being done because you have visibility to your project. Lastly, I want to highlight the My Work. Now, whose work is it? It's based on the resource you choose. Again, we've been highlighting Sarah's workload. So let's filter just for Sarah's tasks and see what's going on. Sarah, unfortunately, hasn't completed any tasks. So maybe we need to step in and say, check in with Sarah. How are you doing? What do you need help with? Effort completed based on hours, not tasks, but how much effort is completed, which tasks have been highly progressed, which ones need more help. So all these things are default available with Microsoft Report Pack, and you would get them connected to your projects in Project for the Web. And now you're making intelligent business decisions. You have more visibility to now pivot as your projects progress. As we wrap up today, I want to look back at the project management needs of schedule. And we saw the schedule and the different tasks we can do in Project for the Web and how the cards are built. We can communicate. We can give details in the task cards. We can even progress in the task cards. And we can say, maybe email isn't the best way to communicate. Let's communicate around the individual tasks themselves, whether it's typing and sending updates through Teams, or just saying, here's my number of hours progressed against the task. We saw that you can connect a SharePoint site with your Project for the Web board and the associated 365 group. We also saw that these Project for the Web can be rolled up together into a program and provide you visibility to your projects. Thank you again for joining us for another Webinar Wednesday with Advisicon. If you found this helpful and would like us to help you get started with Project for the Web, please contact us. We look forward to hearing from you soon. Thank you and take care.